do have a change today during this new event, the Overdrive event. Overdrive Initiative is what they're calling it. It's a fun in-game thing. If you guys haven't taken part in it, I suggest you get online. It's a little bit different than most of the missions that are out there, most of the events that are out there. Give it a shot. It's actually kind of fun. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. Jumping back to the Warbond game, C2 Herc is still here, and the Merc is still here as well. I'll cover those in a second, but the Redeemer is a new one. Save $30 right off the top, and you've got a couple choices. Obviously, the Harbinger is the biggest amount of savings, right? It's only $10 to save 30, and so the Harbinger has only had one. I think it's only had one Warbond before. It was, back in 2022 or something. It was a while back too. So it's relatively rare, I suppose. It's not like it has never happened, but it is more rare than some of the others. I think Redeemer's been up, I don't even know how many times, probably 3, 4, maybe 5, or at least 5 times I can think of. So Redeemer comes up often enough. Retaliator Bomber has, I think, at least twice. There may have been a third time, I don't recall. At least 2 times for the Retaliator, and the Vanguard Sentinel has also had, I think, 2, maybe 3. Might be 3 on this one. So the Sentinels, both of these are pretty good choices, even though you're going to leave $15 more on the table, though, right? So this is spending 10 to save 30, and either one of these is going to be spending 25 to save 30. That one's up to you. If you think Retaliate, or if you already have a Retaliator Bomber CCU in your chain, or the Sentinel, or even the Blade for that matter. I think the Blade has had 1. I think the Blade's only had 1. It's not as often as some of the other alien ships. Unless you have enough referrals that you've got the Blade outright, I would probably say the Blade is a 4th place, right? A distant 4th. Apollo Medevac is obviously not a good choice. It is still a concept ship. That may change in the future, but right now I would not recommend it. Maybe if this goes, let's see. So you save minimum save 30, right? I gotta go see this. So for the Redeemer, it's it's okay. So Warbond here is $30. So if this goes to like 295, 290, 295, then it would be a good option in the future. Again, not right now, but in the future it may become a new option. Be priced the same or similar to the Vanguard. But if the Apollo Medevac goes $25 for its increase, that'll be a $300 ship, which means you wouldn't be able to use this Warbond because you're saving 30. It would be below the threshold it wouldn't appear on this list, right? But again, that's way out in the future. Anything less than that, at the 260 price point or lower, I mean, it might be tempting for people that just started the game to say, hey, there's a Warbond for the Mercury right now. I'll just buy that and I'll buy this. You're spending $40 to save 30, and you're leaving a whole lot of money on the table. So one quick fast review again. Harbinger's probably number 1. These 2, Retaliator Bomber and Sentinel, are probably a tie for number 2. If you want to leave some more money on the table, if you already have these, just makes it easier. I get it. Blade, would not recommend this one unless you already have it, right? But it's a 3rd place option, and then anything less, you're just leaving too much money on the table. I covered the C2 and Merc before, but I'll go through them real quick in case this is the first video you guys have seen. This one, again, saving $30 right off the top. The Phoenix is the best option. Glaive is, think of the Glaive as if you have access to it, I guess. It's a difficult ship to get, right? But as far as we understand it, the Glaive, at least until Squadron 42 releases, will not hit a Warbond CCU. It'll never happen. After Squadron 42 releases, it may be possible that the Glaive will hit a Warbond CCU. But right now, you have to do special things to even make it available. So I wouldn't recommend it, okay? The Endeavor is a concept ship, no go on the left. Crucible, also a concept ship, no go on the left. Constellation Phoenix Emerald has never had a Warbond CCU, probably won't. It's one of those limited edition ships. I would not upgrade that one at all. Starfarer Gemini, you're leaving, it's not bad, I guess. Spend 30 to save 30, it's not terrible. And it's had a few. I think the Gemini's had a couple Warbonds, but it's only 2. It was a couple years ago. Not a terrible choice. Caterpillar, spending 40 to save 30, but we know the Caterpillar has had quite a few Warbond CCUs available, so you may have one in your chain. Maybe that makes sense to you. I would probably go from Caterpillar to, it's 330. It's not terrible. Best pick here is Constellation Phoenix. It's never had a Warbond CCU. It's one of those that just hasn't hit yet, and I don't know. It's not the best choice, even though it's the most amount of savings, right? You spend 20, save 30. That's the best value. But getting there might be a little bit more complicated, and you may spend more money on getting up to the Constellation Phoenix. If you want a safe bet, you're going to have to leave money on the table and pick the Gemini and or the Caterpillar, or again, the Redeemer. These two are 330, and you can get the Redeemer right now. And we just talked about that one, so that one makes sense, guys. Here, just to reiterate, Caterpillar Pirate Edition and Best in Show Edition, these are limited editions. I would not count on those ever hitting Warbond CCU. Do not consider those. Constellation Aquila, you're spending a lot of money to leave a bunch of money on the table. I would not recommend anything like that. So again, going back down here, the Redeemer and Caterpillar both make decent choices because they're pretty often, they often hit the Warbond sales. So those are good choices. Gemini's had a couple. If you have it, great. If not, it seems like more rare. It didn't have any Warbond sales in 2023, or it only had Warbond sales in 2022 actually. So more rare. Ixnay on the Emerald A. No ships that are still concept or limited edition. Yeah, best value plays a Phoenix, and the other two are about a tie with the Caterpillar and the Redeemer. So there you go. Gemini's probably a close second, and these are like tied for third, or 3.5 maybe. All right, jumping back to the Merc. Where's the Merc? Okay, so Merc's 260 normally. Save 20 bucks. Not too bad. I think I covered this a couple times. Cutlass Steel, it's had Warbond. Antares has had Warbond. Raylan's a no-go because it is still concept. Terrapin and Defender are equal choices, and anything less than that, you're just leaving money on the table. So, all right. So the Overdrive Initiative. This is a new in-game mission set. It's a couple week-long endeavor. It's got a couple of different stages with multiple missions in each one. Right now, I think stage 2 is on. The first stage was basically bunker missions, hacking something, and I don't want to spoil it if anybody hasn't taken place. It's actually pretty fun. It lends itself to group play pretty heavily. You can solo it. I actually did solo it myself. I worked on this in between work meetings, so yeah, it is soloable. It can get a little hectic and frustrating at times, but it can be soloed. It definitely lends itself to group play though, and I would recommend going that route instead of solo. The second phase is basically, it's like bounty hunting, right? It's ship-based combat. It's relatively easy, also soloable. There's 3 phases again, just like the first mission set, and it's on right now if you completed the first stage. The assumption is there's going to be at least a third stage moving forward. But as part of this event, the gist of it is, if you complete all of the mission sets and all of the phases, you get a free upgrade. So it's a free CCU. You will get, for free, a CCU from an F7C Mark II to an F7A Mark II. That's the actual free CCU you're going to get by taking the Overdrive Initiative missions and completing them all. I think this is a very interesting way to give out free CCUs. I'm definitely taking part in it. duh, that's the game I like. Not only do I like to play Star Citizen, but I also like to play the CCU games. So yes, absolutely. It's like double bang for my buck right now. I don't actually know if I'm ever going to own an F7A Mark II, but I'll have the upgrade if I ever want to. I think I was playing around with building a chain for it here. Is this it? Yeah. With stuff I already have in my hangar and a couple of $5 and $10 purchases, I could get there for like $75. I think I said in the last video, you guys, I like the idea of you buying CCUs because you're saving money on ships, but please try and fly the ships before you complete your Warbond chain of a CCU game. It's fun to say, hey, this ship is awesome now, but look, there's huge changes coming to the Star Citizen universe. How all of the ships function and move and fly and have armor and all sorts of other variables are not even in the game yet. So yeah, the game's fun. Like a C1 Spirit, for instance, generally speaking, the functionality of that ship, right? But when it comes to fighting ships, not only does the meta change, but the Gladius is always going to be the benchmark. Now, we don't know if it's going to be better or worse than the Gladius. It's also a medium fighter. There's a lot more variables when it comes to single-seat fighters in the game. So I'm very cautious to complete CCU chains on that. The Ion taught me that lesson very well, which I actually used in this second stage of this currently running Overdrive event. It was quite useful, even though the targeting is still so terrible. Even on a hammerhead, if you're at any kind of range, if you maximize your range with the Ion, it's still the targeting even on a hammerhead is pretty terrible. It's very frustrating. But I did in fact use it, and I completed the mission. Oh damn it! I just spoiled it. Sorry. Yeah, one of the phases is a hammerhead that you need to fight. It is just like bounty hunting. So sorry for spoiling that. Dang it. I'm not even going to cut it out. My bad. But yeah, if I did want to try it out, I'm going to try it out on the when the event comes to a close, because you get a 3-day rental after the event ends. And I think this is all leading up to Invictus, which means all this stuff is going to be available in Invictus, is my guess. I don't know if we should count on Warbonds or anything for that, but it seems like they're playing this up for like an Invictus launch thing there. So you can buy the Hornet Mark II now for a Warbond outright, and for a standalone without a Warbond store credit or whatever. I don't know what's coming, but it at least would make sense, similar to how they did the Scorpius, that maybe there would be a CCU, a Warbond CCU available for this particular ship in the future, or maybe even just the F8 F7A. So this is the F7C. Just to make this even clearer, the F7C Mark II is available right now. You can buy it and fly it and do whatever. It is in game. The F7A is the military variant of it that you will get as a free rental for 3 days after this event ends, provided you've completed all the missions. So that's a long way of saying and explaining that if you do all these missions in the Overdrive Initiative, you get a free CCU. Anyway, I would suggest reading the Overdrive Initiative FAQ if you're a person that really likes the Hornet series. Obviously, they still haven't gotten their gold pass, and all of these ships are going to change when some of these new master modes get entered into the verse, and other things as well, like armor, weapon normalization, pass, all that stuff will change things up. But again, if you're a Hornet fan, definitely read this FAQ. It's got additional information that you should probably read through if you are looking at one of these ships. I think it's very cool that through a mission initiative thing in game, you can get things out of game. I didn't necessarily like how they did the Lightning, because it was just, here's your golden ticket and now you can pay a bunch of money to buy a ship. I actually don't know if a CCU would also be made available for that. I was not around playing the game during that last event. I just couldn't get online. I was too busy with other things. So unfortunately I missed out. So if anybody actually did that event, could you check and see if the CCU is available if you had your golden ticket? That would be helpful. Or at least if you remember, because I don't even know if it sticks around. It was like a limited time event. So if you guys could write me down in the comments to let me know if that CCU is made available, or if it's only buying the ship outright, I would like to know. So that's it, guys. Finished up with all the CCU stuff, but that event is still going on, so I'm going to keep you guys apprised of any changes that happen in the CCU game. And definitely try and get out there and enjoy this event. It is team-focused. It is quite a bit of fun, solo and team-focused. So give it a shot this weekend. That's it for me, guys. Zi-Tek out.